Our planet is full of enigmas that challenge the imagination, places whose magic and legend could inspire fantasy films. Among them all, there is an unknown, small country where history and legend intertwine in a unique way, inviting us to discover fascinating secrets. Curious facts such as being home to the biblical mountain of Noah's Ark, having been the first country to adopt Christianity as its official religion, possessing an alphabet designed by a saint, and having legendary monasteries built on the edge of high cliffs. In this new video from Uncensored World, we will explore Armenia, a country which, although small in size, possesses a cultural richness and mysteries that surprise all who have the pleasure of visiting it. Armenia, a remote country whose women are the subject of legends full of beauty and mystery, the result of a unique ethnic mix. A country with warrior women who fought against invaders in ancient times, or with others who soaked sheets in animal blood to avoid family conflicts due to beliefs that wanted them pure. A nation with such an extraordinary genetic heritage that it is behind the origins of celebrities such as the Kardashian sisters and other world-famous women. A nation with schools where chess is a compulsory subject, with such an extreme passion for the sport that it surely has something to do with the fact that the strangest chess in the world was invented here, with the presence of figures that can mutate into others to make it more fun. The country in which the oldest wine cellar in the world was discovered, with legends indicating that it was used as an elixir to unleash passions, surely used in places like the Temple of Garni, the only pagan temple dedicated to pleasure and fertility that is still standing. Pay attention and don't miss this new video from Uncensored World. Soon, you will travel with us through Armenia, one of the most mysterious places on the planet. Let's get started. In the interior of a region forgotten by much of the world, between the impetuous mountains of the Caucasus and the vast Ararat Desert, lies Armenia, a country unknown to most of us, but one that contains some of humanity's most fascinating mysteries and legends. This small nation, wedged between great powers, has witnessed thousands of years of history, battles, and transformations. Its wild beauty, its traditions, and its legends are a reflection of its rich and turbulent heritage, a heritage and genetics that still today shape one of the most beautiful ethnic groups and cultures on Earth. In this new journey of Uncensored World, we will explore in detail the best-kept secrets of Armenia, a hidden jewel that still remains far from the most well-known tourist routes. This small country in the heart of the Caucasus is bordered by Turkey to the west, Azerbaijan to the east, Iran to the south, and Georgia to the north. With a surface area of just 29,743 square kilometers, it is one of the smallest countries in the world. But as we said, this size does not reflect its importance in the history and culture of the world. Armenia has a population of around 3 million inhabitants, a fairly low population density that contributes to the preservation of its wild nature and the conservation of ancient secrets and legends that remain intact, far from the influence of mass tourism. It is a country where time seems to have stood still, and where ancestral traditions are intertwined with a history full of myths. One of the most fascinating characteristics of Armenia is its deep historical past. Few people know that Armenia was the first country to adopt Christianity as its official religion in the year 301, almost 3 centuries before Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire. This decision was made by King Tiridates III after his conversion to Christianity following his encounter with Saint Gregory the Illuminator, and marked a milestone in the religious history of the world. Armenia not only became the first Christian state, but also separated from the Roman Empire, creating its own spiritual path, a path that a little later most of the nations on the planet would follow. This uniqueness of Armenia is also reflected in its alphabet, as the country is also home to one of the oldest writing systems in the world. This alphabet was created by the Saint Mesrab Mashdots in the year 395, who, inspired by the need to translate the Bible into the Armenian language, designed a unique alphabet consisting of 36 characters. This invention allowed the Armenians to preserve and transmit their culture and religion independently, and even today, the Armenian alphabet remains one of the country's greatest linguistic treasures. Apart from these realities, one of the best-known myths in the Christian tradition also has its roots in this small country, namely the legend of Mount Ararat. Although it is currently located in Turkish territory, Mount Ararat is considered a national symbol of Armenia because, according to the Bible, it was on its slopes that Noah's Ark came to rest after the flood. This mountain, which has always been a place of veneration, not only has great religious significance, but has also become an emblem of Armenian identity. The mountain remains a testament to the country's spiritual connection to its ancient myths and worldview. The origin of the name Armenia has a fascinating connection to the mythology and ancient history of the region. The name is believed to come from Aram, a legendary Armenian patriarch mentioned in the Bible, specifically in the Old Testament within the book of Genesis. Aram is described as the son of Shem, who in turn was one of Noah's 3 sons. According to biblical tradition, Aram was the ancestor of the Armenians, and the region where his descendants lived became known as Armenia. Throughout history, this figure has been seen not only as a mythical ancestor, but also as a symbol of the unity of the Armenian people. The link with Aram has been so important that he has become a centerpiece of Armenian national identity, being honored as the nation's founding patriarch. This region was inhabited since prehistoric times by various peoples of very diverse origins, which gave rise to a rich genetic mixture. A combination of races and cultures over the centuries gave rise to what is considered one of the most beautiful ethnic groups in the world. It is no surprise that Armenia has been recognized for the unique beauty of its inhabitants, whose physical characteristics reflect a mixture of Persian, Turkish, Russian, and Mediterranean influences. Armenian women in particular are recognized worldwide for their exotic beauty, their elegant bearing, and a firmness that reflects the rich history of this culture. These characteristics have led many of them to excel in the fashion and entertainment industries. In their origins, many of these women were warriors, and they have a history that, although little known, is fascinating. In ancient times, Armenian women actively participated in the defense of their land, fighting alongside men against foreign invaders. These women warriors not only stood out for their bravery, but also for their skill in combat, fighting with fierce determination to protect their families and their land. Some adopted a masculine appearance, dressing and arming themselves like warriors to disorient their enemies and show them that they did not fear battle. These legendary warriors, whose audacity and power were reminiscent of figures such as Xena, warrior princess, became symbols of resistance and strength. With their imposing presence, these women defied the norms of their time, demonstrating that the struggle for survival had no gender. This tradition of female strength is still a source of pride for the Armenian people and is reflected in contemporary culture, where women continue to be an important part of society. It is well known that this country is the birthplace of some of the most beautiful and famous figures in the world, and one of the best-known examples is the Kardashian sisters. Although they were born in the United States, their Armenian ancestry is a fundamental aspect of their identity. Their unique beauty, which combines Western and Eastern features, is a reflection of the region's genetic mix. But the Kardashians are not the only ones. Many other international celebrities have Armenian roots, such as Hollywood actor George Takei and singer Cher, whose mother was of Armenian descent. But in Armenia, beauty is not only found in its people, but also in its landscapes. The country is home to some of the most breathtaking views in the Caucasus, with snow-capped mountains, deep valleys, and ancient monasteries built into cliffs. These monasteries, some of which date back to the 4th century, bear witness to the deep spiritual bond of the Armenian people with their land and their faith. The monastery of Gegard, for example, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is considered one of the most impressive monastic complexes in the world. The monastery of Gegard is located in a dazzling natural landscape that seems to defy the laws of gravity. Suspended on the mountain cliffs, It is more than 1,300 meters above sea level, offering breathtaking views. Its architecture, a masterpiece of medieval engineering, was carved out of the rock of the mountains themselves, making this monastery a unique architectural marvel. As you approach it, it seems to merge with the landscape itself, as if it had been created by the hands of the gods. The fact that it has withstood the passage of time and the inclemency of the weather for centuries is a testament to human ingenuity, making it one of the most amazing and awe-inspiring monastic complexes on the planet. But the legendary places don't end there, as it was in Armenia that what is considered to be the oldest winery in human history was discovered years ago. In a cave known as Armenia 1, located in southern Armenia, archaeologists unearthed a wine cellar dating back more than 6,000 years, making this country one of the cradles of one of the most desired beverages in the world, wine. This amazing winery contained a wine press, storage jars, and even the remains of pressed grapes, revealing the importance of viticulture in the region since ancient times. Inside these excavations, traces were also found of what is believed to be humanity's first wine, a drink that, according to local traditions, was not only consumed at celebrations, but was also used as an elixir in religious and festive rituals. Armenian wine, with its unique and robust character, was thought to possess mystical and aphrodisiacal properties. Although there is no specific evidence that it was used in this way, it is known that in many ancient cultures, wine was considered a divine nectar, capable of elevating the spirit and unleashing the deepest passions. Surely this wine with such special characteristics was used in one of the most enigmatic temples in Armenia, the Temple of Garni. This temple, the only pagan temple that has survived in the country, was dedicated to Mithra, the sun god, and it is believed that fertility and pleasure-related festivities were celebrated in its rituals. The cult of the goddess Askik, the Armenian goddess of love and fertility, was closely linked to this temple, and it is known that in pre-Christian times, the Armenians performed worship ceremonies that included dances and banquets, perhaps accompanied by wine, intended to facilitate the connection with the gods and with human desires. Having reached this point, we would like to take the opportunity to ask you, would you like to get a taste of this country, its wine, enjoy its people, or its hidden corners? What has surprised you the most about Armenia? Its monasteries suspended in the air, or realities such as female warriors, or the Armenian roots of the Kardashian sisters? Pause the video and leave us your comment. We'd love to read it. And you know that doing so is the best way you can support Uncensored World, so that we can continue working every week to bring you content as interesting as this, so thank you. Although there is no conclusive evidence of explicit pleasure practices at Garni, the connection between wine and fertility rituals was a common belief in many ancient civilizations, which keeps the mystique of this temple alive in the collective memory of the country. Thinking about controversial desires and traditions, it is surprising to learn about a reality that still seems to be maintained in some remote Armenian villages, a reality that has to do with blood-stained sheets with the intention of avoiding family conflicts. Thinking about controversial desires and traditions, it is surprising to learn about a reality that still seems to be maintained in some remote Armenian villages. A tradition linked to social expectations about female purity, in which it is believed that, in certain corners of Armenia, women were and can still be forced to prove their purity before getting married, a purity understood as the absence of intimate relationships prior to marriage. This belief is so deep-rooted that, in ancient times, it is said that some brides resorted, or still resort, to using animal blood on their wedding sheets as a way of demonstrating their purity to their future husband and family. The tradition was deeply rooted in the belief that a woman should arrive at her marriage pure, understanding purity not only as a moral concept, but also as a social one, related to family honor. Otherwise, the consequences could be severe, with the risk of family conflicts or the shame falling on the bride and her family. In these cases, The use of animal blood on the wedding sheets was understood as a symbolic way of protecting honor and avoiding disputes. Although these traditions have been disappearing over time, in some more isolated Armenian communities, the belief that a woman must maintain her purity until marriage may still exist. A reality that is much more present today than these controversial traditions has to do with what could be considered the country's national sport: chess. In Armenia, this ancient game is not only a pastime, but an integral part of the education of the youngest members of society. For several decades now, chess has been considered a compulsory subject in the country's schools, a reality that reflects the deep cultural connection that Armenians have with this game of strategy and logic. This educational approach began to be implemented in the 1970s in an effort to foster critical thinking, concentration, and problem-solving skills in students. Armenia has produced some of the world's most outstanding chess players, and the country has achieved great renown in this sport. Several Armenian champions have managed to position themselves among the best in the world. One of the most outstanding is Tigran Petrosian, who was world chess champion between 1963 and 1975. This interest in chess is not just a question of individual skill, but forms part of the country's cultural identity, to the extent that it has left its mark on chess through a unique version of the game, mutant chess, which is considered one of the strangest in the world. What makes this chess so different is that the pieces have the ability to mutate during the game, transforming into other pieces with modified movement rules. Throughout the game, the pieces do not remain fixed in their roles, which introduces an extra level of uncertainty and forces players to constantly adapt to new situations. For example, a pawn could become a rook or a knight a queen, completely altering the course of the game. The creation of this mutant chess reflects Armenia's deep fascination with chess, as well as its constant search to innovate and challenge established norms. A reality that, as you have seen on this trip, reflects very well the unique character of this region of the planet, ready to break barriers and rewrite history. We are coming to the end of the video, and you would probably like to know how to make the most of this incredible destination, and even more so understand the reasons that make Armenia one of the cheapest countries to visit on the planet. A place where you can have unique experiences without breaking the bank, as the costs are considerably lower than in many other countries. If you are planning your trip, getting to Armenia from other parts of the world is quite simple. From Europe, for example, you can find direct flights to the capital, Yerevan, which will connect you easily. In addition, the country has good connections from cities in Russia, the United Arab Emirates, and some parts of Asia. Armenia is part of the Commonwealth of Independent States, so depending on your nationality, you won't need a visa for short stays. For citizens of the European Union, the United States, and many Latin American countries, only a passport is required, and there are no complications for entry. In terms of safety, Armenia is a completely safe destination for travelers. It is also known for its hospitality, and tourists rarely face problems. Large cities like Yerevan have a modern infrastructure, and public transportation is reliable. The most common option for getting around is by taxi, which, apart from being very affordable here, helps you get to the most desired places faster. Another good option is to use local transportation apps. Prices in Armenia are very cheap. For example, a coffee in a local cafe costs less than $1, while a traditional meal in a restaurant will cost you between $6 and $10. For accommodation, a night in a 3-star hotel will cost you between $20 and $50, while in cheaper options, such as hostels or guest houses, you can find beds for as little as $10 a night. As you can see, traveling to Armenia is an excellent option for those looking for an experience rich in history and culture without having to spend a fortune. With a welcoming climate and affordable prices, it is a perfect destination for those who want to enjoy legends, nature, and mystery without spending a lot of money on the adventure. From Uncensored World, we hope that this video has helped you discover Armenia, as you have seen, one of the most enigmatic countries on the planet. If so, don't hesitate to leave us a like and a comment. It's the best way to help us so that we can continue working every week to bring you content as interesting as this. Or like this video that you can watch now, to discover another of the most mysterious and beautiful places on the planet. Click on it. You're going to enjoy it.